Well, hello there. This is Mark Ittleman, Speech Language Pathologist, and welcome to the Teaching of Talking. This particular video is going to be about how much stimulation, how much do I need to talk to the person who has aphasia, who has possibly lost a good part of their speech. How much therapy are they going to need? How much do I need to talk to them? Well, the first thing we have to realize is that quite often what happens is that when a person has aphasia, they become somewhat withdrawn in the beginning because it's a shock to them and they find out that they can't speak. And when they can't speak, they attempt to speak with others and they're not successful. And so one of the things that happens if we try anything and we're not successful, well, guess what? We don't want to. We don't want to do it. We sometimes want to avoid it. So avoidance is something that occurs when we don't really achieve, when we have difficulty with something. Many choose to avoid, and others don't. The other people, they decide that they want to do everything that they can possibly do to get better. But the question is, in this video, how much is really necessary? How much talking is really necessary? Well, if you look at the act of talking, you know that it's a discipline. When we learn how to speak, we're constantly given models of speech by a mother or a father or by family members. And what happens is that this is a constant thing. It goes on all day long. Within most families, there is constant conversation and interaction. And with small children, that's how they learn to talk. And the small children who end up succeeding are well disciplined. In other words, they're taught very early on what's right and what's wrong, and they're given codes of behavior that many follow. Well, the same thing goes exactly with speech, that it's really a fallacy to think that if a person has apraxia or aphasia, or if they have a severe speaking difficulty, that speech therapy once or twice a week is going to help them. It's really not. And especially it's not if there aren't people at home who are trained. And I talk about this all the time. But to answer the question, if a person with aphasia or apraxia wishes to get their speech better, they must constantly desire to speak better, and they must be engaged in talking. Because what's going to happen is that many of them are going to forget things that you've covered with them. And when you ask them about that, an hour later, quite often the memory's not there. So when correcting speech difficulties like aphasia and apraxia, there must be a ton of repetition. There must be a great deal of repetition, and it must go on throughout the day. Now, here's another very important part that you need to know, and that is that, each one of us is a distinct personality. And, one of the things you got to know is that if you're going to help a person talk, you have to make sure that you have their permission. And that's what I teach in all of my classes, that there's something called communicative courtesy. And communicative courtesy is making sure that you have the individual's permission who you want to help with their speaking. Because sometimes they're just not in the schmood. Sometimes they're not in the mood. So for the person to really exceed, they must be open to having you help them talk just almost every time they open up their mouth, or any time you ask them a question, or any time if you're going to talk about the mealtime, or any time if you're going to talk about the kids, or any time that you engage them in any type of discourse, in any kind of interaction, that is your opportunity to help them speak. And if you know the fundamentals of how to help a person speak, then you can be doing this all day long, and what happens is that person starts getting better. And that will happen. It's not once or twice a week. It's not by opening up a notebook and writing with a pencil and pad. That's not it, okay? That's not talking. They'll become better writers, but they're not going to become better speakers. It's not about singing, although singing may be good for motor speech. It's not about singing is not a viable therapy for speech and language, because speech and language have a whole different set of fundamentals underneath them. Like there's articulation, the ability to move the tongue and the lips and the mouth. There's the language, there's the syntax, there's the grammar. All of these things that go up speech. There's the semantics, the intention of what the person wishes to say. And those things are not addressed when you're singing Happy Birthday. Okay, so just know I'm not against, singing therapy or anything like that. I mean, it's fun and all, but it doesn't address talking. It doesn't address comprehension. It doesn't address expression of oneself. So a lot of time are spent on these therapies when the time really should be spent on the natural interaction that one has with another person. So how much speech is really necessary to engage in conversation for a person with apraxia or aphasia? The answer is all day long. And just like a child must be disciplined throughout the day. A child must learn speech and language throughout the day. And the only way that happens is by constant interaction. And that's how it works. And make sure that you have the permission of the loved one that you love who may have aphasia or apraxia. If you've liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. And underneath the video are a bunch of links if you want to join us on Facebook, or if you want to get on our mailing list, or if you want to go to our website, or if you want to go to our Twitter account, or if you want to order a book. We've written a book on aphasia. We've written a book on apraxia. We've developed a independent study video program for aphasia for caregivers. And we do one-on-one mentoring, either individualized or within a group. So if any of these are of interest to you, let us know, because it's difficult out there. Whenever I've learned anything, I've always gotten a mentor. And a mentor just saves so much time, so much trial and error. I can't tell you how much trial and error I've had to go through in my lifetime. I mean, a lot of error. And then when I got a little older, I got a little smarter. And what I did was, if I needed advice on something, or if I needed to learn something, I usually found somebody who could help me out and who could help in the process. So this is Mark Ittleman. Hey, I hope you have a great day today. Don't forget the thumbs up, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye now.